Welcome to this episode of the B2B Marketers on the Mission podcast, and I'm your host, Christian Klepp. Today, I'll be talking to Brandon Ring. He's a marketing leader and a content engine, HubSpot, SEO, and ABM expert who, over the past 15 plus years, has built and scaled robust data-driven marketing engines that accelerated revenue growth. He specializes in aligning revenue teams, implementing cutting-edge marketing technologies, and executing high-impact demand gen strategies that drive measurable business outcomes. If your marketing team is looking to leverage and maximize HubSpot, this is the episode for you. Tune in to find out more about what this B2B marketer's mission is. Okay, Mr. Brandon Ring, welcome to the show, sir.
Howdy. Thanks for having me.
That in itself, that howdy, is already a clue as to where you're dialing in from. But great to have you on the show, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation because we're gonna go a little bit deeper than most on, I think, a topic that's I would say near and dear to you, but it's also like highly relevant to marketers that may or may not be dabbling in this. And I'm gonna like stop keeping the audience in suspense, and I'm just gonna cut to the chase and let's dive right in.
Sure.
All right. So, Brandon, you're on a mission to build and scale data-driven marketing engines that accelerate revenue growth, optimize lead conversion, and streamline marketing operations for B2B and SaaS. But for this conversation, let's focus on how teams can leverage HubSpot for B2B marketing success, right? So in our previous conversation, you mentioned that if marketing teams aren't using HubSpot, they're setting themselves up for failure. So why do you believe that?
All right. So we're going to start with a hot take, huh? Okay. So I'm a part of a lot of HubSpot communities, and I keep, tabs on the latest and greatest that's coming out of HubSpot. And I came to this conclusion that they are offering so many tools and functionalities that if you're using a cobbled together marketing tech stack, you're setting yourself up for failure when you could be using a holistic, all-in-one platform such as HubSpot. So I think now let me frame the conversation just a little bit before we get any outrage type of emails. So let me be clear, I'm no expert on CRMs, and my experience is really limited to Salesforce, HubSpot, and a few other smaller tools. But I have been using CRMs, HubSpot, for over 15 years now. Salesforce also. In fact, two of my opportunities I've been with, I installed HubSpot, synced it with Salesforce, and then eventually we got rid of Salesforce and went 100% into HubSpot. So I do have some experience when it comes to this. And the reason being is that I've never worked at a large marketing team. I think the largest in my stop has been 6 people. But most of my time has been spent with either just myself as an individual contributor or a team of 3 or 4. So this is really where I believe HubSpot shines, because it brings in all the tools and functionalities you need as a marketer, but it also brings in all the tools and capabilities you need as a salesperson, the CRM, even accounting, reporting. That's really bringing it all together is really what's going to help B2B small marketing teams excel and really feel like they are a large marketing department.
Right. No, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. What would you say, like, what do you see as a common thread or a trend in terms of people's hesitation to use HubSpot, especially when it comes to marketing?
That's a good question. I mean, undoubtedly, folks are always nervous about transitioning to a new CRM, or even just setting up a brand new one. If you're setting it up, you're probably a small team already. But I think the hesitation just really lies in, am I getting what I need out of it for the price I'm paying? Is it going to be adopted across the organization? Um, you know, is there going to be a long ramp up to understanding how it works and making it effective. So I think that's some of the areas that would give them concern. But 9 years ago, when I really started investigating into the different CRM options, I demoed with Salesforce, Pardot, Marketo, and HubSpot. And I found that really HubSpot's the easiest to use. It's the most user friendly um, back then. And then since then, I mean, I wish I had bought stock in HubSpot because it's just growing like gangbusters. There's a reason why folks like me, and I'm not being paid by HubSpot by any means, but there's reason why folks like me in the marketing world that are excited about marketing because it just gives you it allows you to do so much with a small team.
Right, right, right. So just building on what you said, like what do you think are some of these untapped opportunities, right? So that HubSpot presents, and how can marketing teams optimize them?
Yeah. So again, just to reference that 9 years ago, so we had Salesforce at this one opportunity, and I was getting by with limited marketing functionality, and I kind of became frustrated when I would execute a campaign and I'd say, great, look at all these wonderful leads, pass them over to sales. And they'd look at each of them and say, oh, I talked to that person a year ago. I talked to that person 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And it was almost like marketing did not get any credit. So one of the things that I think HubSpot really attracted me to HubSpot is their marketing attribution models and being able to capture the data and then report on it easily. So we had Salesforce, and this was before Salesforce went to Lightning. So for any of those folks out there that know Salesforce before that, you probably already know how limited it was in the reporting, or how difficult it was to really get down the road with what you needed quickly. So that was the first thing that attracted me to HubSpot, but the marketing attribution. And since then, it's just it's made it even more easier. Um, and the attribution models are really robust and effective. But outside of that, today ABM marketing is a very hot topic, or it has been for just a few years. And HubSpot really does a great job of uh, executing their ABM. So, especially if you have your website tied to HubSpot, you can quickly clone a page, modify it to the new account that you're creating an ABM page for, and just start building that out through your ICP. So ABM is definitely a big topic, or a big area that HubSpot shines. But outside of that, workflow automation is a big part of HubSpot. So they have a mantra that says automate the mundane, but personalize the wow. And that's something I try to do when I bring into a new workflow automation. So being able to eliminate the low value marketing and sales efforts so that you can focus on the high value efforts when it comes to marketing. And HubSpot does a great job in all those
Yeah,
those
yeah.
areas.
Automate the mundane and personalize the wow. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's right.
Mm, interesting. Interesting. I want to go back to something you said earlier, and because I know some of these words get thrown around a lot. Like we were talking about robust attribution models. Could you give us a specific example, just for the benefit of the audience, that again maybe somewhat like at a top level, like familiar with HubSpot, but haven't really like dug deep as you have?
Well, I know that there's between 4 and 6 mainstream attribution models when it comes to marketing. Really, the I like to distribute it across the buyer's journey. Some people in B2B use last touch, but I think it's important to try and capture all the efforts that led up to either an SQL or a closed won project. Um, and the marketing, having HubSpot being able to track every single step that went into getting that lead to convert is invaluable, and it really proves the marketing's efforts and worth when it comes to bringing in revenue. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. One of the big things, and I'll talk about it later, is lead scoring, being able to capture the buyer's intent, engagement through HubSpot, and lead scoring is a great way to do that.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Moving on to the next question. Some key pitfalls that marketers should avoid when it comes to HubSpot, and what should they be doing instead?
Well, like I said, I've had 9+ years using HubSpot, so I've definitely run into several pitfalls. I mean, it by no means is the perfect piece of software. There is no such thing, right? So there are some areas where it shines, and some pros and cons to it as well. But pitfalls, I think that I've run into. I'm a marketing director. I've also been a marketing coordinator. I find the automation so fascinating, being able to just set it and forget it, make sure that it's all operating the way you want it to. That sometimes I've been guilty of focusing too much on trying to streamline everything and kind of taking a step back from actually the marketing and execution. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all marketers. We still have to, create the campaigns, get them out there, lead generation, things like that. So, I think that's one of the things that I think is so neat to be able to control the automation and the workflows. That it's important not to get lost in the weeds when it comes to that. But after that, I think some of the pitfalls, it's spreads across just marketing in general. Is just you need to have a great alignment with sales and the C-suite, and make sure that you're really doing what you need to do to make sure that they are being reported on. They're getting what they need out of HubSpot. So us as marketers, we want to look at all the metrics that we can, all the data, but sales doesn't care about all the data. They care about what are you doing to help them close projects. So, and again, C-suite only cares about reporting. So making sure that you talk to them, you understand their needs, and then just keep working with them to make sure that it's refined and optimized for them. So I think that's two areas that you really want to make sure that you do when operating something like HubSpot.
Great answer, and I'm gonna dig a little deeper here, Brandon, if you don't mind. You kind of again skimmed the surface here, but like if you can give us a specific example, that'd be great. Um, how can a platform like HubSpot close that gap between marketing and sales? And I would imagine that data certainly has something to do with it.
Close the gap between marketing and sales. Well, I mean, any team needs to be closely aligned with marketing and sales.
Mhm.
The further they separate there, you just run into trouble.
Yeah,
You get siloed priorities. So, I think it was a buzzword 5 or 6 years ago. You want to have smarketing. But I think HubSpot really helps in just bringing all the data in front of you, in front of sales and marketing, and showing what has been done. you know there's been plenty of times where it's like, I don't know what sales is doing, and market and sales says, I don't know what marketing's doing. Well, if you're on a lead contact record, you can look at everything that's been done, whether it's in sales, whether it's in marketing, and then just bringing that as a holistic picture of what's been done to get this lead up to this point. So I think that's having all the data in front of you is a great way to keep teams aligned.
absolutely, absolutely. And on that point, talk to us about the importance of having a strategy when using HubSpot, and not just kind of like, oh, just tinker around with it and let's just wing it somehow, right?
Well, when I was first starting out, admittedly, I definitely just winged it. I mean, and you can do that, but you will be going back, and the more familiarity you have with the platform, you will be going back and making some changes. So, looking back now, best practices, I think it would be very important for new HubSpot users to fully immerse themselves in what capabilities and tools that HubSpot brings to the table, and then aligning those tools and features on what you need out of it. I think it'd be a good idea to put together two lists: a must have list and a nice to have list. And then you just start carving out what the goals are there for each of those. And then once you kind of have some of those aligned, and again, talking to sales, C-suite, customer success, then you can start prioritizing when you can pepper in some of the nice to haves. I think that's a great way to approach it. But then, of course, any goal setting you want to do, it needs to be a smart goal so that you can really put a close-in loop on if you've accomplished the goal or not. So I think that's some of the good strategies. But HubSpot, it's so flexible, customizable that you know your strategy can be unique to your specific business needs. Me personally, I think HubSpot shines using the Sandler sales methodology, but you can configure it for BANT, Medic, target accounts, really any methodology used for marketing and sales.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, let's let's go under the hood here, so to speak, right? Like, and
Okay.
walk us through some of these key features in HubSpot that you've been working with, and talk to us about how marketing teams can best use or leverage these features.
I try and keep up to date on everything that HubSpot's rolling out. I mean, it's almost daily that they're coming out with free new features that you can either opt into or opt out of. Um, so obviously, AI is on the forefront of everything right now, and AI is perpetuated itself within HubSpot. So you'll immediately see what HubSpot's bringing to the table when it comes to optimization, AI, SEO, content creation, website optimization, things like that. AI chatbots, predictive lead scoring, things like that. So that's obviously at the top of the mind, getting that kind of understood. But what I think is some really cool capabilities that I think are unique to HubSpot. Now I know Pardot does some of this, a little bit of this stuff, but uh, specifically for HubSpot, the lead scoring strategy and functionality, I think, is superior to Pardot. So if you're doing B2B small marketing, you absolutely need to have a lead scoring methodology in place. And I reason why I strongly believe that is that when all else fails, you can always fall back on the lead scores that you generated through your campaign efforts, through your website work, through your emails, um, buyer's intent, pet pricing pages. So having a lead scoring in place not only helps sales identify who is engaging with your content, but of course it demonstrates how important marketing is to bringing these leads to sales. So lead scoring is very robust. It's customizable. It's fun to see those scores go up. Um, really is fulfilling knowing that you are nurturing these leads. And most of my stops have long sales cycles, so it's it's been difficult in the past to prove a ROI or a marketing attribution when you do have these really long sales cycles. So, you can engage with somebody a year and a half ago and they're hot and heavy and their lead scoring is high, but then they're not able to purchase until a year and a half. So having a lead score in place can outline or illustrate that there was a lot of marketing effort done up front. So lead scoring, big fan of. Also, I touched on it earlier, the ABM capabilities. One of the really cool things I was able to accomplish is that HubSpot knows who is on your website if they've been cookied. So if you filled out a form on a company's website, if you've clicked on a pixeled CTA through an email, chances are you've been cookied with that website. And why that's important is that you can set a call to action or a button on your website that says, "Hey, company XYZ, welcome back to our website. Click here to view your own personalized page." And then it takes them to that said ABM page. And, this is scalable, creating these ABM pages. And it is intuitive. It's really, I think, a way to wow your leads and customers that I'm keeping your interests in mind when I'm creating these ABM pages. The content is up front that you care about. It's meant to help you and try and bring those leads further down the funnel. So ABM is really slick. I don't know if Pardot does that, but I have a feeling that it's not there yet. Maybe it's got a third party where you can purchase it, but within HubSpot, it's all underneath the same ecosystem. Outside of that, campaign tools I think are great. A lot of marketing automation platforms have that, but it's really great to see how a campaign has impacted the bottom line.
Fantastic, fantastic. I haven't looked at this in a while, but I know I know like a few years ago, HubSpot got a bit of a bad rep for the target personas that it would develop, and things like frustrated Frank and marketing Mary and so forth. And
Uh,
have you seen any improvements since that time in this department?
Buyer's persona.
Mm,
Well, you know, those are like the soft sciences of marketing, and I think they have their value. How you utilize them within HubSpot is really kind of up to you. Uh, Again, those were kind of just nice to haves. I mean, you absolutely want to understand your ICP. Don't get me wrong, and I think documents like that are very helpful in doing so. But if I'm being honest, my job as a marketer is to understand the ICP as best as I can. So again, it's good to have those documents initially, like a new job, new opportunity. But if I don't understand the ICP 6 months, 8 months down the road, then I'm not doing my job as a marketer. So I don't know that there's tools or functionality within HubSpot to leverage something like a buyer's persona. Maybe there is, but really it's all about email segmentation or, ABM segmentation. I think that's a better use case for understanding the different types that are out there.
right. Okay. I mean, you touched on it earlier, and this is 2025, and it's kind of unavoidable if it wouldn't be an actual podcast conversation if we don't talk about AI, right? Like, so talk to us about some of these AI features on the platform, especially those that you've used and that you feel are like highly relevant to marketing teams.
Well, it's funny how fast AI has made its way into marketing,
Yeah,
right? Well, generally
yeah,
everything. Um, but I remember when ChatGPT rolled out, and this feels like it was only like 6 or 8 months ago, but I know it's probably closer to a year and a half ago by now. But just being blown away with ChatGPT and seeing what it could do and generate. And then fast forward to today, where you're finding different LLMs, different tools out there, AI tools that are suited for different, um, functionalities. Like I think Claude AI is really great in developing content and helping you write. ChatGPT is kind of like the general purpose AI. Perplexity is an amazing AI for research and things like that. So that's interesting to me, but I will caveat and say that I don't know of everything that HubSpot's doing when it comes to AI, but I can tell you some of the areas where we have used it. So when building out blogs within the HubSpot platform, you can have an assistant that's right, almost like that little paperclip Microsoft Word, where it makes recommendations, or you can ask it for catchy headlines or blog posts that are related to the one that you're creating. So it really does help with content generation, and it will automatically build out the blog for you. Like, of course, it's not perfect, but half the battle is getting the content on the page. Once you've done that, you can refine it very quickly so that you are making content so quickly. Um, and, you know, I've had leaders in the past say that you don't want to make AI content. It's just artificial. It doesn't really do its job. But I will say that it's important to have a regular cadence of content going out. And oftentimes, AI generated content is the way to go. As a marketing director, you want to pepper your ICP with relevant content at a frequent cadence. Now, you do want to create content that's really amazing, really well thought out. But in between those pieces of well thought out content, I think AI is generated content is perfectly fine. And HubSpot helps with that. It also helps with SEO recommendations. I have personally seen our keywords get higher ranked within the HubSpot ecosystem using its recommendations. So that's pretty fantastic. Another feature that I've not actually used, but I've heard about is predictive lead scoring. So, like, I'm used to setting up a lead scoring model that is demographic based or firmographic based, and then another one that is behavioral based. And then you combine the two numbers and you get a good overall lead scoring. But I believe that HubSpot has what's called a predictive lead scoring that kind of automates or does the AI, brings the AI side to the lead scoring model. But admittedly, I've not had a chance to use that yet. I think it also has a chat bot that's AI. I know it has chat bot features where it goes to whoever you want to go to, but I believe they've rolled out an AI assistant for the chat bot too. So those are some of them, but there might be more.
Yeah. No, there's there's more for sure, and yeah, no, the chatbot one is something that we've been looking into as well for a client, and it's one of those things where in reality, because I've done a certification in customer experience, and one of the things that they keep saying is that people are frustrated with chatbots on the website. But that being said, it tends to be also a situation where, do you want the answer to your question? Do you want those issues addressed right away? Or do you want to wait until an actual person is online that you can chat with, right? And some of these things, and one of the main reasons why they implement these chatbots on the website is there are some very common questions that website visitors will ask. And why not prepare those answers ahead of time and just automate that sequence, right? And if it's something a bit more specific that does require a customer service representative or something of that nature to attend to you, then yeah, there's a way to like funnel them into a perhaps a call or something like that, right?
Yeah, no, I mean we utilize the
Yeah.
chatbot. And I've seen a use case for it on in several different areas. Like you mentioned, customers would just type in a question that they had about the software, and again, we didn't have the AI set up, so it would go to me or it'd go to one of my SDRs or marketing coordinators, um, and if we didn't know the answer off the top of the head, we would Teams one of our SMEs and ask them, and then we'd immediately get a personalized response to that question for customers. But additionally, it wasn't blowing up. It wasn't wasting a lot of our time. But yeah, we got some leads through a chatbot. I mean, some good leads. And so it kind of speaks to there are times when folks just absolutely hate chatbots. But then other times it's like, I kind of want to raise my hand, but I don't know if I want to talk to sales yet. I'm just kind of like figuring out if this is a right fit for me. And chatbots are great for that.
Absolutely. Okay, my friend, we get to the point in the conversation where we're talking about actionable tips, and you've given us some already, but just imagine, as I said at the beginning of the conversation, just imagine there's a B2B marketer out there that's listening to this interview and listening to all these tips and recommendations that you're giving about HubSpot. So, what are like 3 to 5 things that you could advise them to take action on right now when it comes to leveraging HubSpot for marketing success?
Yeah. So I definitely have 5 to 6. So, and I'll try and be concise here. I already talked about lead scoring. Get that in as early as possible so you can start capturing all the engagement that is going into your marketing efforts. But I think another important area is to make sure that you have established the necessary tools or steps to capture life cycle stage uh, metrics. A good thing to do is kind of create hard definitions about each life cycle stage, what constitutes moving them through each phase of the life cycle, all the way to SQL. And then even after that, when it goes over to sales, make sure you're capturing each like time and stage, because I personally wanted to know that information, but I know that even the folks above me really want to know how long are the folks staying in which funnel, and then you want to be able to improve upon that. So make sure you've got lifecycle metrics coming in. You can absolutely do that through HubSpot. I can tell you another big function that we had in HubSpot. Salesforce and HubSpot treat leads a little bit differently. Salesforce has a lead as a contact record, and it has just a regular contact. But HubSpot has them both together. So making sure that you have closed loop reporting when it comes to leads is so important. So I know that HubSpot has a lead functionality area dashboard. Uh, so you can really capture and track where the leads are coming from and how they're progressing, like I said, through the life cycle. But prior to HubSpot, we had leads that were leaking through there, or we had leads that sales was not following up on. And we were making that assumption. We're like, did you talk to this person? This was a great lead. Oh, nothing came out of it. Well, did you really appropriately follow up on it? Or are you just telling me that? So you can have closed loop reporting when it comes into HubSpot and really keep everybody accountable, not just sales, but also marketing when it comes to leads. So that is very important to have so that no sales falls through the funnel. Um, Outside of that, this is kind of more of a marketing. Just make sure you have evergreen campaigns on your website, trigger-based campaigns, so that if you're showing somebody that's really interested in product XYZ, you can enroll them into a trigger-based campaign that really just kind of feeds them and tries to keep them engaged, knowing that they're looking at this product or these problems. So you can again do that. You can optimize that campaign, do some A/B testing. Just a few more small ones. So making sure that you're utilizing pixeled call to actions. That's just essentially a button that has a pixel on it in emails. So you want to make sure that you're cooking the contacts, because that way you can track what they're looking at on your website. If they're not pixeled, they just are an anonymous visitor. But once they become pixeled, HubSpot's able to fill in all the past history that they were doing on your website. So making sure you're cooking those contacts is very important. Um, let's see, build out dashboards. So you can create as many dashboards as you want in HubSpot, I believe, and you can fill those dashboards with the reports that are important. So I have a marketing overall dashboard for me. Sales has an overall dashboard for them. Leadership has a dashboard that's just for the high level reports. And then when you talk in customer success, you talk to all these different departments. They obviously have different needs when it comes to reporting. So talking to them, filling out their dashboard, and you'll probably have to help them set this up, and that's fine. But by setting this dashboard up for the departments, they are more engaged with the CRM. They're more uh, they adopt the CRM faster if they're using it. So making sure that you help them along the way with the dashboards and reporting, I think, is paramount. And then lastly, just you can set up these reports and then just review them quarterly, if not sooner than that, to make sure that you're on track to hitting your goals.
Well, that's quite the list. But
Yeah,
no, thank.
I could go on,
I'm
but
I'm I'm
I'll
sure you
stop
can.
there.
I'm sure you can. Um, Let me just quickly repeat this for the benefit of the audience. So I think you were talking about like setting up the lead scoring, capturing life cycle stage metrics, um,
Yep.
tracking where the leads are coming from. So things like closed loop reporting, having evergreen campaigns on the website, which I totally agree with. That's so important. Utilizing pixel CTAs so that you can cookie. I think the context was the word you were trying that you were using. Building out dashboards with important reports and setting up the reports. I hope I captured that accurately.
Yep, you did. Great
Okay,
job.
fantastic. Okay, moving on to the next question. And it's time for you to get up on your soapbox.
Oh no.
A status quo in your area of expertise that you passionately disagree with, and why?
I guess two come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I started early in my marketing career, I was so concerned that the messaging, the content that I was creating needed to be professional, and it needed to sound so important.
Right.
And then fast forward to today, where I think it's so much more important to show that you are a real person. And I know AI. We've already talked about that, but I think marketers are too guilty sometimes of creating what I call marketing speak, which just kind of sounds salesy. So backing off of some of that marketing speak and sounding a little more authentic. I don't know if that's a hot take, but that's definitely something that I will make sure that I'm accomplishing when it comes to any messaging I'm putting across. Another one, I already touched on it. I mean, the AI content generation, I think, is absolutely a must. Yes, create that quality content, but I know that that takes time. So, in between those pieces of great quality content, you can easily kick out a blog or a social media post using AI generation. So, I think that feeds the SEO algorithm and just helps you keep in front of your
Yeah,
audience.
it's a delicate balance, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
on the one hand, to sound authentic, to sound human, but on the other hand, it's the volume and the speed.
Hmm. Yeah. No, doing more with less. That's always the goal of the marketer, right?
Yep, yep, absolutely. Okay, now here comes the bonus question. So, at least on your LinkedIn profile, it says that you're based in Austin, Texas. So, for the benefit of those that are not from Texas, what is one thing about Austin that a lot of people don't know about?
Well, let's see. A couple things that I've learned about being in Austin. Uh, there seems to be obviously an exodus of Californians coming to Texas,
Hmm.
but additionally, they seem to be bringing Hollywood. Like I know that there's a lot of movie studios coming to Austin because I think it's either cheaper or some of the actors are coming with it. I don't know, but I think that's kind of interesting that Hollywood's coming here. But additionally, you know, there's a lot of tech companies that are making their way here. Obviously, Tesla, I think LinkedIn, Google. I mean, you name a company, and I think they've got a good presence here in Austin.
Interesting. Yeah, I've read about that online, so it's interesting to see that trend, right? How a lot of companies are flocking to Texas, and it might be for those reasons that you've mentioned, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
fantastic. So Brandon, this has been a great conversation. Thanks again for your time and for sharing your expertise and experience with the audience. Please, quick intro to yourself and how folks out there can get in touch with you.
All right. Well, thank you. I've loved this conversation too, Christian. Thank you for having me on. Again, I'm Brandon Ring. I'm a B2B, B2G SaaS marketer with over 15 years of experience. You can find me on LinkedIn if you just Google search Brandon Ring. There's a lot of contact information there, and reach out. Um, I hope that I haven't offended anybody with this HubSpot, but I'm definitely a believer. I think you can do a lot more with a lot less using this platform. So reach out if you'd like any further questions, and I'd be happy to talk.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So once again, Brandon, thanks for your time. Take care, stay safe, and talk to you soon.
Thank you so much,
All right.
Christian.
Bye for now.
Bye.